Okay, lasst uns die Wunden versorgen. Wir machen zuerst eine Schnittwunde. Müssen wir das jetzt behandeln? Knochenbruch können wir schon behandeln, oder? Wie war das? Schiene und Verband? Oder erst Schiene, dann Verband. Und hier haben wir Schnittwunde. Das heißt, wir haben erstmal desinfizieren, dann Stick und Verband. Gut, ich bin fertig. Jetzt kommt Eva. Oh Gott, sie hat richtig schlimme Sachen. Schnittwunde, Desinfektionsmittel, Naht, Stippdick, Verband, Bauch von Ast durchbohrt, tiefe Schnittverletzung, Desinfektionsmittel, Naht, Stippdick, Verband. Das war's. Also für 3 Schnittverletzungen und 1 Knochenbruch. Naja.
Can you walk?
Yeah, I think so.
Here. It's different from the Mauser. When you're using a two-hand grip, you have to be careful where you put your hands or your fingers will get burned by the exhaust gas from the cylinder gap.
Ich will ja nichts sagen, ne, aber...
Snake, are you alright?
I've been better.
What about Eva?
I healed her up. She can manage.
Good.
Snake, you'll take the...
Ja. Ich will ja nichts sagen, Eva, aber... Es ist ja ziemlich kalt. Solltest du nicht, ja, ich weiß nicht, die Jacke zumachen? Keine Ahnung, ich weiß das nicht.
This tastes like crap.
Okay, ja, wir haben verstanden. Russische Rationen schmecken nicht gut. Was ist denn hier die beste Tarnung außer Tigerstreifen? Tigerstreifen. Tigerstreifen und Wald. Okay, warte kurz. Eva, ich hole uns was zu essen. Und noch unnötigen Ballast wegwerfen. So. TNT brauchen wir auch nicht mehr. Das auch nicht. Gut. Hey Eva, kannst du laufen? Oh Gott, ja, sorry. Fast. Wir brauchen jetzt hier viel zu essen, denn die Ausdauer von Eva wird sehr schnell abnehmen, da sie schwer verletzt ist. Immer noch, obwohl sie ihre Wunden schon geheilt bekommen hat von mir. Wird es Zeit, dass sie... Oder, ja, sie muss halt viel essen, okay? Eva, wo bist du? Achso, ich kann sie herwinken mit Dreieck, okay. Gut. Ja, hoffentlich gibt es hier keine Fallen. Das wäre natürlich ein bisschen asozial vom Spiel, aber ich glaube nicht. Kommen Sie, junge Dame. Mir nach. Gut. Es wäre ja zu einfach gewesen, wenn hier keine Feinde wären, gell? Eva, du bleibst erstmal hier. Oder beziehungsweise nein, du kommst mit. Da ist nix. Eva, komm. Du bleibst erstmal hier. Aufpassen.
Is somebody there?
Watch out! We've got company.
Mein Gott, schieß doch mal. Gut. Aufpassen, da kommt noch mehr. Ich sag's dir, diese Betäubungsmittel, die sind einfach für den Arsch. Alter, das reicht's mir hier. Damn it! Alter, sind das viele. Das gibt's ja nicht. Alter, wir müssen sie alle umbringen. Es tut mir leid. Oder ich versuche sie mal nicht umzubringen, aber das sind echt viele. Alter, what the fuck? Wo kommen die alle her? Sag mal. Aufpassen. Okay, ich glaube, es sind alle weg. Fucking hell, what the... Also, ich frage mich halt... Ja, das wollte ich eigentlich nicht essen. Das wollte eigentlich Eva essen, aber... Gut,
Can I have seconds?
weiter geht's. Komm. Aufpassen.
He's over there?
Alter. Ey, so langsam reicht's mir mit euch. Ihr kleinen Pisser. So. Komm, Eva.
Right there. I see him.
That's enough. Komm. Komm jetzt. Ich warne dich. Also wenn das jetzt nicht alle waren, dann... Es kommt noch mehr. Vielleicht brauchen wir doch eine Blendgranate. Diese Leute sind einfach komplett am Eskalieren hier.
Is that him? Where'd he go?
Komm. Schnell. Sind die irgendwo fallen? Oder nicht? Boah. Das ist echt tense. This is really tense.
What did you give me?
Okay, der schmeckt scheiße. Passt.
I'm gonna puke.
Iss, mein Kind. Iss.
Yeah, I've lost my appetite.
Iss.
Yeah, I've lost my appetite.
Okay. Passt schon. Komm. Moment mal, ich habe irgendwie ein Gefühl, dass hier vielleicht Minen sein könnten. Also es könnte auch sein, dass ich mich da jetzt täusche, aber... Hier sind schon mal keine. Sehr schön. Sieht aus, als ob die Feinde weg wären. Ja. They're gone. Komm schon, lieber. Ja, ich weiß. Ich muss dafür Eva. Passt schon. Puh, das waren viele Feinde. Oh, es geht noch weiter mit noch mehr Feinden. Na super. Und ich dachte, das war schon alles. Na geil. Gut, machen wir mal die Kugeln aus dem Körper raus. Der Rest kann von selbst verheilen. Das Gute ist, die Feinde kommen jetzt nicht von hinten angeschissen. Das heißt, wir können da jetzt ganz entspannt uns um die Feinde kümmern. So.
I'm so hungry.
Ja, passt ja. Du kriegst gleich was zu essen, okay? Wenn du ein gutes Mädchen bist. Seht ihr, wie sich unser Leben gerade erhöht hat? By the way, weil wir so viel Wunden haben, die sich von selbst geheilt haben. Das Ding ist halt, je öfter man in dem Spiel etwas isst, desto besser schmeckt es einem dann auch. Also okay. Oh, warte. Hier ist irgendein Tier am Gras. Das können wir essen. Eine Schlange und ein Frosch. Oh shit! Gut. Das hätten wir jetzt fast geklärt. Ah, das ist nicht so einfach hier, ne? Muss ich schon sagen.
This tastes like crap.
Och, Eva, das hab dich mal nicht so.
Well, not bad at all.
Ich sag ja, schmeckt gut. Aufpassen!
Watch out. Company.
Gut. Komm, lieber, schnell. Ich habe mich gerade daran erinnert, wie man Auto-Aim macht. Also falls ihr euch wundert, warum ich so gut zielen konnte gerade. Los, Eva, es ist nicht mehr weit. Oh, es ist noch ein bisschen weit. Das Ding ist halt, irgendwie fehlt hier auch das Essen. Hier lang, Eva. Ah, Edith.
Can I have seconds?
Das Ding ist leider, unsere Munition hat sich verabschiedet. Deswegen müssen wir jetzt leider entweder wir sind jetzt tödlich oder wir nehmen einfach eine Waffe, die laut ist. Wir nehmen einfach die laute Waffe. Ich meine, es muss ja auch irgendwie spannend bleiben, nicht wahr? Hier haben wir noch 26 Schuss, hör mal.
Huh? Huh? Freeze. Freeze. Don't shoot!
Oh. Nett von dir. Aber ich habe schon genug Granaten. Eva. Wo bist du denn, Eva? Wo ist sie denn? Ist immer noch da hinten, Alter. Eva. Komm. Eva, komm. Ich bin hier. Die Feinde sind alle weg, glaube ich. Obacht. Los, Eva. Jetzt sind sie alle weg. Komm. Ich glaube, das war's jetzt aber wirklich.
Come on, Snake. Over there. It's the boss, isn't it? I'll go get the wig ready to take off.
Right.
I'll leave you two alone. But come back in one piece, okay? Promise me!
Life's end. Isn't it beautiful? It's almost tragic. When life ends, it gives off a final lingering aroma. Light is but a farewell gift from the darkness to those on their way to die. I've been waiting, Snake, for a long time. Waiting for your birth, your growth, and the finality of today.
Boss. Why are you doing this?
Why? To make the world one again. The world used to be whole. But with the end of the Second World War, the philosophers began to fight amongst themselves, and the world was torn apart. The Cobras, my comrades who trained and fought alongside me, were torn apart as well. The foibles of politics and the march of time can turn friends into enemies just as easily as the wind changes. Ridiculous, isn't it? Yesterday's ally becomes today's opposition, and this Cold War? Think back. When I was leading the Cobras, America and Russia were fighting together. Now, consider whether America and Russia will still be enemies in the 21st century. Somehow I doubt it. Enemies change along with the times, the flow of the ages, and we soldiers are forced to play along. I didn't raise you and shape you into the man you are today just so we could face each other in battle. A soldier's skills aren't meant to be used to hurt friends. So then what is an enemy? Is there such a thing as an absolute timeless enemy? There is no such thing, and never has been. And the reason is that our enemies are human beings like us. They can only be our enemies in relative terms. The world must be made whole again. The philosophers must be reunited. I will devote my skills to that purpose. And with the Colonel's money, I will achieve that end. Just as I once created the Cobras. They are my family. I may no longer be able to bear children, but I still have a family. It was November 1st, 1951. I was in the Nevada desert participating in atomic testing. The name Nevada is derived from Spanish, covered in snow, white as snow. And snow is exactly what I saw in that Nevada desert. It froze my blood white. Snake, you were an atomic test subject, weren't you? On Bikini Atoll. That's part of the reason I was drawn to you. You and I are alike. We're both slowly being eaten away by the karma of others. We'll never have the chance to die peacefully of old age. We have no tomorrow. But we can still have hope for the future. In 1960, I saw a vision of the ideal future from space. 3 years earlier, the Soviet Union had succeeded in launching Sputnik, the first man-made satellite in history, into orbit. This came as a huge shock to the United States. In response, America threw everything it had into its own manned spaceflight project, the Mercury program. Even as the Soviets seemed poised to send their first man into space, America was still experimenting with chimpanzees and rockets. The government wanted human data, so they secretly decided to send a human being into space. I was the one they chose. At the time, they didn't have the technology to block out cosmic rays, and whoever they sent up would inevitably be exposed to heavy radiation. That's why they chose me. After all, I'd already been irradiated once. Of course, you won't find any of this in the history books. I could see the planet as it appeared from space. That's when it finally hit me. Space exploration is nothing but another game in the power struggle between the US and the USSR. Politics, economics, the arms race, they're all just arenas for meaningless competition. I'm sure you can see that, but the Earth itself has no boundaries. No East, no West, no Cold War. And the irony of it is, the United States and the Soviet Union are spending billions on their space programs and the missile race, only to arrive at the same conclusion. In the 21st century, everyone will be able to see that we are all just inhabitants of a little celestial body called Earth. A world without communism or capitalism, that is the world I wanted to see. But reality continued to betray me. In 1961, I was sent to Cuba, to Bahia de Cochinos. It was part of a CIA-sponsored invasion under the guise of taking Cuban exiles back to their country. But the US government betrayed them. Our weak-kneed president held back their air support. Defenseless, the exiles were annihilated by the Cuban army. All I could do was watch in silence. I was set up by the very country I'd sacrificed so much for, by the very government I dedicated my life to defending. I was driven from the surface world, and I went underground. Then, 2 years ago, I faced the sorrow, my old comrade in battle. He was my friend. But one of us had to die. I was left with no choice. The sorrow gave his life for me. There is no enmity between us. One must live, and one must die. That was the mission. The ones who gave me that mission were the philosophers. Early in the 20th century, the true holders of power in the United States, the Republic of China, and the newly formed Soviet Union gathered together in a secret meeting that would later be known as the Wise Men's Committee. The secret pact they formed there marked the beginning of the philosophers. But the last of the original members died in the 1930s. After that, the organization began to run out of control, and the Wise Men's Committee degenerated into a mere shell of its former self. The philosophers of today have no sense of good or evil. Their influence extends to countries and organizations involved in every aspect of every war. They have become war itself. That's how they operate. The sacrifices of war cause a shift in the times. This shift leads to renewed conflict, and in turn triggers the next war. Like a nuclear chain reaction, each conflict sparks countless others, forming an endless spiral that will continue on for eternity. Do you understand what I'm saying, Snake? By consuming me and you, the philosophers intend to keep that cycle going forever. It was my father who explained all of this to me. He was one of them. You see, I am the last remaining child of the philosophers. But after he revealed the truth, my father was killed by that same shapeless, formless organization. And my father isn't the only thing the philosophers have taken from me. In June of 1944, the Cobras and I took part in the landing at Normandy. We'd been given a top-secret mission to locate and destroy enemy V-2 rocket installations. I was pregnant at the time. The sorrow was the father. I gave birth on the field of battle. A beautiful baby boy. But my child was snatched away from me by the philosophers. Look at this scar. This is proof that I was once a mother. I gave up my body and my child for my country. There is nothing left inside me now. Nothing at all. No hatred, not even regret. And yet sometimes at night, I can still feel the pain creeping up inside me, slithering through my body like a snake. I've never talked this much about myself before. Thanks. Thanks for listening to me. I feel content. Snake, commence the operation. I raised you. I loved you. I've given you weapons, taught you techniques, endowed you with knowledge. There is nothing more for me to give you. All that's left for you to take is my life, by your own hand. One must die, and one must live. No victory, no defeat. The survivor will carry on the fight. It is our destiny. The one who survives will inherit the title of boss. And the one who inherits the title of boss will face an existence of endless battle. I'll give you 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, MiGs will come and bomb the hell out of this place. If you can beat me in less than 10 minutes, you'll be able to escape in time. Let's make this the greatest 10 minutes of our lives, Jack.
Boss.
You're a soldier. Finish your mission. Prove your loyalty. Face me.